Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. We have a 30-minute mobility and stretch focused class going down right now. Grab your coffee, put on your comfy clothes, maybe grab some water if you would like. We're going to get this thing started. We do not need any equipment except something comfy to work on, aka a mat. But you can also just do this on your floor or anywhere really, because yeah, we don't need anything. So I'm going to try my very best to attempt to not knock this coffee over. So let's do this thing. Okay, so we're going to start you guys off standing, of course, at the end of our mat, the little warm-up flow sequence. After we get our joints moving, a little bit loosened up, we're going to go into those static holding stretches, and then we'll finish off today with some little breathing exercises. So hip width apart in the feet on the floor, soft knees. We'll bring our hands down to the floor. You guys can walk yourselves all the way out into this plank position. When you get out here, we're going to step in and drop down onto that knee. Rock back as far as we are comfortable with. Back forward, lift up, and then do the same thing on the other side. Back, forward, lift up, step back, and then you can walk back up to the top. We'll reach those arms over our head, over to one side, over to the other side, and then we will return back down onto the floor and do that one 2 more times to make it 3 times total. So let's get it. Back into the walkout. Again, trying to step in onto the knee, not moving too quickly, but not spending any time in each position. So we should feel some opening happening in the back of our legs, those hamstrings, especially if you guys did yesterday's leg workout. Whoop, whoop. This is definitely a good one to do after that. So we'll go through that last one, again, taking our sweet time with it, slow and controlled. There you go. Okay, so take your time, you guys. Once you are done, we are going to actually stay up for this next one, and then we are pretty much hanging out down on the floor for lots of this stuff. We're going to get ourselves into a squat stance. We'll be sitting down into a squat, and we're going to use our elbows to apply some pressure to the knees to push them out, and then we'll stand and just reset at the top. So we'll sit down, push the knees out, stand, and then you can just leave the arms in front of you, put them down. You can do either or. If you're not so comfortable sitting that low, you can just take your hands and use them instead of your elbows or your forearms. And it is just going to make it so you don't have to sit so low, which might feel better for somebody who has sensitive knees. So we'll go through 10 of those total. And we don't need too much pressure, just enough so you guys can feel it. So you can feel a little bit of opening happening in those inner thighs. I'm going to put this back in its safe place. So ambitious. All right. Okay, so we'll go through 10 reps total of that one. And then we're going to bring ourselves down onto the floor for the next couple. So I'm actually going to bring us down a notch so that we are a little bit lower. And too low. There we go. Okay, so you guys can come on down here and join me in our 90-90 position. Okay, so we want to get into this 90-90, 90 degrees at both of the knees. Bottom of the foot is in line with the shin. We'll lock our feet in place, try to get both the hips on the floor. If that's not happening, that's okay, but that is what we are working out to eventually. And then we're flipping the legs right and left. If you can't sit up like this with your back flat, we know we're better off to have our hands behind us so that we can keep our back flat and we're not rounded over like this in our hips and pelvis. We want to be as straight as possible in here. And so we're going through right and left, trying to again keep the feet in place. I might move back a little bit. I find sometimes it's a little uncomfy to do this on a hard surface, so I always make sure that I'm on the mat. So we'll go through 5 per side, 10 total, just flipping our legs back and forth. So we're warming up and getting those inner thigh muscles, your hips, everything around your hips, front and back. And then the next one, gonna be so happy to do, excuse me, we're going to go through our bow and arrow. Yes. So we're laying on our back, rolling all of ourselves over to one side. So you can roll your legs, your arms, straighten up the legs, straighten up the arms. We're going to take that top leg and weave it underneath the bottom. So we're going through the full shebang right now. So we'll try our very best to keep this knee down on the floor, hands together. Breathe in and then exhale, and we'll cross or bow this arm across and try to hopefully have space to straighten out our arm all the way. I'll just have to go up here a bit. And then we reach up and over back to center here. And we're going to do that 5 times on this side. So we'll go through 4 more. So we're going through again, not spending too much time on that side, just kind of getting there and then leaving and feeling that big old stretch through the lower back, mid back, your hips, your glutes, your chest. It is a full body situation. So we'll go through 5 of these and then I'll get you guys to switch sides. So I'm gonna actually turn around. Maybe you can just switch sides if you want to just flip around. And so we'll do the same thing on this second side. Now for those of you, disclaimer right off the bat here, who can't keep this knee down or who can't touch this hand out, maybe you're kind of hovering and above, prioritize one of them. So either try to keep your knee down or try to get your shoulder down, and then eventually you'll be able to get both. It just takes time. And to help this, sometimes what you can do is get something and put it underneath your knee. So again, a cushion or my foam roller that I always point at that hangs out in the corner over there. Those things will help elevate the floor and just overall make this easier for someone who doesn't quite have the mobility to do this all the way with the shoulder and the knee down. Because really, you guys, most people don't. Most people don't. And I know you guys have been working with me for quite a bit, so hopefully it is improving. But just know that most people don't. So we'll get those in 10 on that side as well. And then we are going to flip over. So we're going to get you guys to sit yourself up. And we're going to flip over into this all 4 position. I'm going to show you guys this from this side. Actually, I do have room. So we're going to get that one leg, whatever leg you want to start with, and extend it out to the side so that we're feeling that stretch in the adductor, in your inner thigh here. So that's the first thing, besides being shoulders stacked over the wrists and the hips stacked over the knees, back flat. But that's a given, of course. We're going to extend this leg out and then rock back, rock forward, round our back, rock back, forward, arch our back, back, forward, and then the last one's just neutral, so just a straight back. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So just turn, don't have any bobby pins in. So extend that other leg now, and then do the same thing over here. So we're rocking back, flat back, big arch, lifting the spine up, around rather. And then we go into the arch. So chest up, tummy down, rock back, rock forward, and then neutral. So straight back. And then you guys can slowly release. And we'll get right back onto our back for the next one. So we should be feeling that in, again, your inner thighs. You guys are laying down onto your back for this next one that we're going to go through. So this next one is, again, another kind of hip-focused one. It's rather than us actually stretching, we're kind of using our glutes to open up the front of our hips. So we're going to work through our single leg bridge, but you guys are going to do alternating reps, and we're going to tap into our core stability a little bit. So lower back into the floor here, big inhale in, So fill up the lungs. And then exhale, we're in this bridging position. We're gonna drive those hips up to the top. And then find that top position where we're squeezing our butt and we're feeling the hips open up in the front here. So once you guys find that, we're going to hold this position here. And then you can bring it back down. And now we're going to narrow up the feet. So because we found that position, we felt the back side there. We'll narrow up the feet here. Same back situation, driving those hips up, hands are on the floor. Going to lift one leg up and try to not let my hips dip. So this is one we've actually done on like core days. We'll go down, touching the back. Exhale, drive up. Switch. Down. Exhale, drive up. And on the way up, we should feel that same opening. So more of like an active opening in the front of the hips. Of course, you'll feel a little bit of work in the back side, again, especially if you guys did your leg day recently. But we're trying to go through these, doing 5 per side. So we'll exhale, push it up, get that active stretch in the hips. And then you can switch. And we will go through 10 reps total. So yeah, that one is, I know actually this one's kind of challenging sometimes, but just kind of go with the flow here. You think about more of that active stretching than anything else. Okay. So now that we have, you guys can stand up or just kind of flip around here. The next one we're going into is our half kneeling static hip flexor stretch. So because we're going to be kneeling for an extended period of time, and we're literally going to be holding each side for about 1.5 minutes. So what we're going to do is make sure that we're comfortable, starting off with the kneecap. So I'm not. So I'm going to take the mat and fold it up into this position here. Knee on it. And we'll get into our half kneeling position. So I want to take a knee, 90 degrees at both of my knees, and then I'll do that big pelvic tilt here. So I'm tilting my pelvis under, which is going to open up the side. I'll actually switch sides so that you guys can see. Hip flexor, pelvic tilt, opening up the front here. So for the first 30 seconds, which has already started because I can see the timer that I have running right there, we are going to just hold, just a tension, and then kind of back off a bit. It shouldn't be painful. There should be no pain. You shouldn't be forcing a stretch or anything like that. That's actually one of the most common mistakes in stretching is overstretching. So we just want to go to tension and then back off a little bit. And we'll hold that there for this first 30 seconds. And so we should be feeling it directly in the hip. You might feel a bit in your quad from the top of the thigh here. Maybe a little bit in your core because of the way we're holding our pelvis like that. But mostly it should be focused in your hip. And again, I am holding on over here so that I don't have to balance because you don't want to have to think about balance and stretching at the same time. So let's stay here. We have about 5 more seconds, and then we're going to take this stretch a little bit further by actively squeezing our glute. So this is one that we've been working on. We've done this. We've been here before. We're back again. We're going to take this glute and squeeze it and bring it in, contract that muscle there, which is going to give us even more of a stretch in the front of this hip. And this is going to be us for the next 30 seconds. So you guys are going to hang out right here. Of course, I will tell you when that is, but I want you actively squeezing this hip the entire time. So we'll hold that there. You have 10 seconds left to hold. So take a nice big breath as you should be this entire time. Breathing, inhale, exhale, nice and deep. We're going to take this arm for the last 30 seconds, reach it above our head and over towards the side that we're holding slightly, which is going to give us a big old opening all the way from the side of the leg, the hip, up into the side of your core. And this is you guys for 30 more seconds. We're going to hang out right here. So I'm not really moving too much to the side. I'm just going to turn so you guys can see me. I have my arm just reached up and then slightly over, which opens up this entire side. You may need a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on you. But we shouldn't be bending too much through this area here, through your waist. So hold it there, you guys, 10 more seconds. That's the wrong side. There we go. All right, there it is. So we're gonna switch sides and do the same thing on the other side. So we'll take it knee, find our pelvic tilt, holding that position without the glute contraction. We're just holding that tension, arm relaxed. Breathe in, thinking about what you're gonna do today. Gonna make it a great day, even though it looks kind of rainy, cloudy out there, but that's okay. It's Saturday. Sometimes those make great Saturdays. Okay, so we're holding this here. You guys are going to work through this 5 more seconds. Don't you worry, I'm still watching your time. And then right now, you are going to actively squeeze your butt. So we're going to hold this position, hanging out in our 30 seconds. So trying to stay nice and relaxed in your hip, in your core, actively pulling this glute in. And breathing, 10 more seconds. All right, so right about now, you guys can reach that arm above your head, release that glute, and then we'll come up and over to the side. Oh yes, getting that stretch all up in here. And still in the front of the hip as well. So we'll breathe into this one. You have 10 more seconds left to hold this here. Stretch it out. Stay with us. And you can slowly release that. We'll bring ourselves out of that. And we're going to be laying on our back for the next one, preferably close to a wall, because we have our glute stretch coming up next. We are preferably going to do the one where we have the bottom of our foot pushed up against the wall, as it is one of the, I find, the most adaptable ones. It's really easy to make it stretch more or less, whereas when we pull in like this, which very well works, so if you don't have a wall, you can pull in. Some people don't have the mobility of pulling. It ends up being like really uncomfortable for them to hold this position, and today the session is just all about you guys relaxing, except that little glute bridge situation there. But besides that, you shouldn't be having to work in these stretches. So scoot yourself close to a wall if you have one. We're going to lay into the same position with one foot on the wall, ideally 90 degrees. So I'll kind of come a little bit closer there. And of course, my bun is always in the most weird spot. And I'm actually going to move it out of my way, and this is a little tip for the ladies here. Because the bun, if it's on the back of your head, it will push your head up, and sometimes it can cause and strain the muscles in the neck. So I'm just going to move to a top bun. And then we're going to get this ankle on the top of opposite knee here. And right away, I feel this nice stretch happening. So we're doing the same style as we did on the hip flexor. Minute and a half, we have 30-second intervals here. So the first one, simply just holding, and that starts right now. So that, again, could very well be pulled in like this. If you don't have somewhere to put your foot on the wall. If you're not feeling the stretch, you can scooch a little bit closer to the wall, but we want to make sure that the hips are not lifting up off the floor. We want to keep those hips down. Oh, this one feels nice. So we'll hold this here. You guys have just under 10 seconds left. And then what we're going to do is take this leg here, this bent one, and use the muscles in the leg to push down. And so we're getting this tension, and we'll hold this here. We're going to hold this one just for 10 seconds. And I will tell you guys when the end of that 10 seconds is. So just hold it and breathe. And so we can release that and still kind of hold this tension here for the 10 seconds. We're going to do one more bout where we're pushing up against or down against gravity, our mobility. And so we'll exhale and push that knee down now. Hold this here for 10 seconds. Deep breaths. And then for the last 30 seconds, I want this stretch to be deeper. So what I'm going to do is actually come undone and scooch myself a little bit closer and then get myself back into position. And now I can hold this nice deep stretch here. It's, again, still just tension. But if I didn't do that other stuff with the pushing and the holding, I wouldn't have been able to get here, because that stuff really did help me wake up those muscles and just tap into the mobility to get into this position, which now I can hold and actually stretch in. So we're going to hold this here. You guys have about 15, just under 15 seconds left to hold the stretch. And breathe and chill. Some nice. This is what I was like, I want my coffee here, but I can't drink it right now. All right, so we'll take a couple more deep breaths. And then we'll release and switch and do the other side. So because I moved closer, I'm going to scooch away a little bit to start, because I know my second side is just going to be tight starting off, just like the first side was. So I'll find that position, and I'm actually good right here for the first 30-second hold, where again, you're just going to find that stretching tension. So stay here, breathing, taking about 10 deep breaths, and feeling that nice glute stretch, hip stretch happening on the back side. From all the work that we did this week. All right. So we'll hold this here, take about 2 more deep breaths. So on that next inhale that you take, we're going to exhale and again push that knee down. We'll hold this here for 10 seconds. So while you're holding down, you can take deep breaths, exhaling and fighting against that work that you feel happening in your hips for this 10 seconds, which is done right now. You guys can release. Ooh. And we'll hold here. Just again, stretching, tension. Take an inhale and then exhale, and 10 more seconds of that pressure. Okay, so we'll take about 2 more deep breaths. Ooh, stretch, stretch, stretch. And you guys are going to scooch a little bit closer. And we will hold for the last 30 seconds. So again, we're getting into that deeper position where we probably couldn't have gone before. But because of this stuff, we have loosened up from the beginning stuff to this, even just the pushing the knee down. And we breathe. So 10 more seconds, actually just under 10 seconds. I always challenge myself to gauge time. I'm mostly right, have my running clock. And we will relax out of this one. Nice work, you guys. So the next one, we'll sit up into our this position. I'm just gonna adjust because I have a weird Pop up, coming up. Perfect. There we go. Okay, so next one. Ooh, we're gonna get into this position. So come on and join me right here. So this one is one that I had you guys do on Friday. If you did that workout, kind of left you with it. We didn't quite do it together, but I talked about kind of walking over side to side. So the first thing that we're going to do here is just start off with finding a position where we can sit up with flat back. So those of you who know you're quite flexible or quite mobile in your hamstrings, in the back of your legs, or really anywhere, you can probably have your legs a little bit closer and still maintain the straight back while keeping the entire bottom of your legs, your calves, your ankles down on the floor. If you can't keep back or keep all that down, then you can try widening up your legs until you find a point in which you can do that. So I want you guys to make sure that you are finding that position, because this is really important for this one. We don't want to be rounded over like this through our pelvis or our back. We want to have the hips sitting in the most upright position as possible. So for me, that's like right there. So my legs are actually a lot wider than they used to be. I used to sit up so straight, but I just, I don't practice this one as often. And, you know, all that. So we'll find this position, and we're going to starting with holding a stretch, which feels nice. Which is why I got to hold the stretch. I'm like, oh, this feels nice. So the first 30 seconds, you guys are just going to hang out right here and hold this. I'm trying to point the toes up, but we're not stressing out about flexing the feet up. Although if you do that, if you try that, it will increase how much stretch we feel down the back of the legs, specifically down the back of the calves, the lower leg there. So if you want that additional stretch, you can point your toes up to your face. So we'll take a couple more breaths here in this nice position with a nice straight back. And then what we're going to do is take this straight back down and walk our hands towards our feet. So it's really crucial that you don't start rounding through your back, because that's a different part. That's part 2 of this one. Part 1 is us keeping everything tight here and moving through our hips so that we get a really nice stretch happening in the back of our legs rather than our lower back. The lower back's the second part, which is where we round, which is why it's most important that you don't do it right now. So tighten it up, shoulder blades together, and then we'll walk our hips, our hands down while keeping everything nice and straight. And you don't need to go that far, okay? You really, really don't. And if you do, you might find that that back rounds, or that the legs start to pop up, or that it simply just stretches way too much, which are things that we don't want. We just want to be feeling that tension, which I feel like right here with a straight back. So I'm just going to hang out right here for 30 seconds. Now, this one actually, surprisingly, because of the way we're sitting, you might start to feel a little work, like a little crampiness happening in your mid-back because we're having to keep this situation. Just try to breathe through that here for the next little bit, specifically like 10 more seconds. And then what we're going to do is round down and stretch all that out. So take another deep breath. And on that next exhale, you can release that posture and just let it all hang and walk your hands down into this rounded situation. And now we'll start to feel the back of the neck all the way down the spine to the lower back stretching. Yes, the back of the legs still stretching, but now it's involving this, and we're not really feeling that cramping sensation anymore because we've kind of let that go. So again, another one, you might have to widen up your feet a little bit. If you want to make the stretch more, you can narrow them, point your toes, whatever you want to do, but we'll keep the back rounded. It's not often that I want you guys to really, really round your back, but right now is one of those times. Okay, so you can release out of that one, just a 30-second hold. The last one, we are here, yay, we're gonna do it. We're going back to that bow and arrow that we did at the very beginning, the one where we were moving through it, and we're going to use it as a nice static holding stretch. We're also going to incorporate some of our calming belly breathing that we have talked about before into this stretch. So we're going to get you guys thinking about breathing deep into your tummies. So if you found on that first part there that you were one who couldn't keep your knee and your shoulder down, then I highly suggest that you grab yourself like a pillow or a foam roller or a second mat or a towel to roll up and put under your knee so that you can make contact, because it makes this just simply a lot more comfortable, okay? So we're gonna do both sides here, holding each side for about 60 seconds. And we'll be taking these nice deep breaths in between. So I leave my leg again, same situation. And if I couldn't keep these two down, I would have something under here. So a foam roller or a pillow or two to lift up this knee, which is gonna make this feel a lot more comfortable than you hang it out in the air like this for a minute. So take a big breath in. And when I'm saying in, I don't just mean into your chest. We are gonna take it all the way low into our tummy. Now, if you need to for the first couple, you can put your hand on your tummy and make sure that you're sending all of that air in there. Now, second thing with that breathing is it's all going to happen through your nose. Okay, so let's do this. Inhale. You should feel your hand lifting with air, and then exhale. Inhale, and once you have that, you can take yourself into this bow and arrow position. Relax your neck, because that's actually kind of feeling on the neck. And we'll hold this here. And same thing, if you want a little reminder, you can put your hand on your tummy just for the first few. But we'll hold this. And the timer has started right now, where you guys are going to hold 60 seconds per side. So you can close your eyes and trying to breathe through our nose. Slow and controlled, and sending all that air into your tummy, not into your chest. So sometimes that can be a little bit hard to master, but it makes a big difference on how that breathing affects our body. It's going to help us really calm down our nervous system, calm down our mind. We're breathing deep down here rather than our chest. So we'll hold this here. You guys have about 15 seconds left to breathe into this one, which feels so nice, so nice. And we'll hold this here. So we'll take 2 more deep breaths. Okay, so you guys can reach up and over your head. And we're going to do the other side. Same thing, and then we are done for today. Okay. So the timer is starting right about now. So we'll open up here, find that position. We've already practiced the where the air should go, so just remember to send it to the same place. And we will hold this here for 4 minutes. You guys have 45 seconds left to hold it. So we should be feeling all sorts of stretching again. If this is uncomfortable, you guys, please make this comfortable. Lift up your knee. You can even do something as simple as stacking your legs rather than having them weaved. Sorry, I didn't tell you this on the first side, but that's something that you can try. So you guys have about 15 seconds left here. Yeah, this one feels so nice. So we'll hold this here. Take 2 more nice deep breaths through the nose, into the tummy. All right, guys. So you can slowly bring yourself out of that one. We are done. Amazing job. Hopefully you feel good. Hopefully you feel loosened up and
good from all of the workouts that we did this week. Thank you guys for joining in. I will see you guys on Monday, and have a great weekend. Bye.